Slug, what's up? What's going on in your life right now? I know you just did like a summer festival the other day.
Wow, we played a festival called Cali Roots out in the
Okay.
Bay. It's in beautiful Monterey. And it was a really good, amazing party. A lot of great people. I got to see friends there that I haven't seen in a while. I got to kick it for the day. My crew that I went with was amazing, and even them, I haven't really got to hang with them so much these last few years. So yeah, it was dope. Our actual set, our show was plagued with technical difficulties, and it was ill because I know for a fact, and I even had somebody pull me aside and be like, anybody else up there would have been like, hey, we can't play tonight, sorry, and left. But I just took it to the face, man, and was like, you know what, we're just gonna deal with this. I was busting acapellas, I was busting freestyles all over the place, busting free acapella freestyles, whatever I had to do to fill space while my crew was trying to jiggle the wires and see what was going on. You know what I'm saying? We use a pretty elaborate setup. We got a couple of turntables, but we also are running, a multi-tracking system to send our tracks out separated. You know what I'm saying? So that every little hi-hat and snare can be adjusted by my front of house guy. And everything suddenly sounded like it was going through like 8-bit Atari, kind of like just mash up, and I'm not like by any means perfectionist, but what I am is I'm a Virgo, so I'm still pretty anal about how I get down, and so the show must go on, man. And it was quite a challenge. It was intense. We bopped our way through. We got to Coney Island, and it's all good. But yeah, it was quite the show.
Has the relationship with touring sort of changed now for you because of the basic, gap that you had in the last few years? Like, because Atmosphere toured so much, so I just wonder what your perspective is on shows now that you're back to it. Was it, did you have to shake the rust off? Do you have a greater appreciation for it? Like, what's your sort of vantage point there on that?
It remains to be seen. I can definitely feel the additional 15 to 20 pounds that I'm carrying. But as far as the relationship with the audience, we went out last summer with Cypress Hill, and that was an interesting one because we co-headlined that. And generally, I've been spoiled, let's say, to always be playing in front of an Atmosphere crowd. I mean, aside from festivals, then you get what you get. You're playing in front of everybody's fans. But when I go on tour, it's like it's an Atmosphere show, and then we brought some friends with as support. But if you came, there's a 90% chance that you came for Atmosphere, and so you get spoiled because then you play the songs that you think these people want to hear. You play the songs that you yourself want to use to challenge them. You do the things that you set up for this relationship that you already have, a relationship that you have with an audience. And with Cypress Hill, it was kind of different because I was playing in front of a lot of Cypress Hill fans, and which is tight because it's been a minute that I've had to like actually be tested, if for lack of a better thing. I mean, it's like, and I know how to do that. I've been tested, I'm saying? And so to be able to have that tour to kind of revert back to a different kind of a vibe, feel of proving yourself to somebody who's never heard of you was really the best way I could have re-entered the touring situation. You know what I'm saying? Because it was almost like, instead of just picking up where we left off, it was picking up from a space of, let's say 10, 15 years ago, a space of excitement, a space of, you don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And then to see the results, to see some of these people who you can see visually, you could visibly tell they did not come here to see you because they're doing this the whole time. You know what I mean? But to see them by the end, rock with you, you know what I'm saying? Or to even get, man, just the response I was getting on IG from some of these people were like, yo, I never heard of you before, but I really felt what you had to say about this, that, or, it was touching, it was inspiring, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me. So now here comes and I've played a few Lucy's since then, festivals as well as Atmosphere headline shows, and those all have felt great. This was the first show I've had that kind of where we were like, oh, some of our equipment needs to be dusted off because we're having these difficulties. Now, again, I feel fortunate that happened too, because now before this tour, I got to remember this can happen. And you got to stay sharp and ready. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, so I'm feeling pretty good, man. Now that's my relationship with the show, my relationship with the audience. Everything feels great. I wouldn't say it's exactly what it was. It might even be better than what it was before. And I think what happened here is I was, like many of us, forced to realize that this is fragile. This whole, not just ecosystem of music and how, what part of this industry it is, you know, but our relationship with the audience, our relationship with our job, our relationship with our financial situations, whatever, man, all of this is way more fragile than we necessarily have been thinking. You know, I won't say I took it for granted. That's like an extreme way to put it, but I was not in touch with how fragile this was. And so that I feel blessed to now have had that experience as well. If you feel me, it's like to be able to go, okay, I have some new lenses to view a lot of this through, you know, but the relationship with the audience seems as tight as it was, maybe even tighter, you know, we'll see. Cause maybe they all realized how fragile this was too, you know? But I think that my way of looking at all of this is a lot more colorful now. There's a lot, it's more vivid. There's more going on. And I'm really grateful for that, because I do think that there is a danger of us taking things for granted and riding them into the sunset and never really fully reaching the potential or seeing what really could have been, because you get so used to doing something that you forget that you can overachieve. And so now I'm ready to overachieve, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. That's definitely, I think, a byproduct of all of this is that it's kind of shifted everybody's perspective. And you mentioned that you hadn't been tested in a while when it came time to doing the Cypher shows, but you're about to get tested here in a completely different arena of some hip hop trivia. That's called a flawless segue, folks, for those of you watching or listening at home. You see how I just kind of thread those together? So you ready to get into this hip hop trivia?
I am as ready as I can be.
Absolutely. All right. Well, then we're going to get into it with our first round. And the first round is a round that we call The Choice is Yours. It is our general multiple choice round. So I'm going to bring this up for you here. And we're going to get into it. You can see that all right?
I can. Right. Round one. The choice is yours. It looks like Star Wars.
Yeah.
With a better font, actually. I prefer this font.
Take that, George Lucas. All right. First question in our first round. Which of these rappers kicks off the first verse of Marley Marl's classic 1988 posse cut, The Symphony? Is it A?
Listen closely. It's D, Master Ace. I'm sorry. Oh, shit. I cut you off. I was excited.
You were excited.
I'm going to rewind. Yeah.
We'll do it all over again. But yeah.
I was hit the buzzer.
Hit the buzzer. No, there's no timing on this. But yeah, let me read the choices just for the people if they're listening to this. So which of these rappers kicks off the first verse of Marley Marl's classic 1988 posse cut, The Symphony? Is it A, Big Daddy Kane, B, Craig G, C, Cool G Rap, or is it D, Master Ace?
I'm going to go with D, Master Ace.
He says Master Ace. Let's see if he's correct, folks.
Listen closely, so your attention's undivided. Many in the past have tried.
Master Ace is correct. That was an easy one for you.
Who had the best verse on that song?
I mean, this is sort of like the Rorschach test to see how you can evaluate a person, right? I mean, I am a big Master Ace fan, and I do think that kicking off a song of this weight is definitely, it's not an easy thing to do, but I think I got to give it to Kane. What's your take on that?
Daddy Kane?
Yeah.
I would say this. I agree with you about Master Ace and the pressure of him starting that off, and I think he handled it. And I think even his first bar was tight. Listen closely, just come here kind of a thing. It's a great entrance. I think a lot of us have emulated that entrance since. But my favorite MC of that era is possibly Big Daddy Kane. Sometimes, it moves around between obviously the ones that everybody call the greats, but Big Daddy Kane is definitely a huge influence on me. I wanted to be Big Daddy Kane. However, on this song, I got to say Cool G Rap probably kicked the best verse, even though Kane was my favorite of the four. Cool G Rap, when he did that verse, it wasn't like he showed us what he could do. It's like he reminded us, this is what I can do. And everybody, we all had to just kind of duck. It was almost like he was literally shooting at us while we were listening to him. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, that Cool G Rap verse might be one of my favorite verses of all time. It's in the top 10 probably.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at anybody's choices on that. You know, it's like I said, it's sort of the litmus Rorschach test, and there's no incorrect answers, I would say to that. You can't trash talk any of the verses on the symphony.
No, and obviously honorable mention to Craig G too, because he killed it too. Like the whole song, it is one of it's the posse cut that enabled posse cuts to be a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like posse cuts were kind of like cool, and you would do it if you had some friends over, and they were and you're making your records, and your friends are there, and they get on, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the one that made people go, okay, how do we outdo that posse cut? You know what I'm saying? And people have been trying since that happened.
How do you even define posse cuts? Like, if you have two artists on an Atmosphere song, does that make it a posse cut? Like, or what's the distinction there?
No, that's a duet. I would say a posse cut has to be three or more.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Like,
four.
if you had two guests on there, then that.
Two guests?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Like, I do believe the posse cut should be a total of four voices. However, if the three guests are going in and rapping about just rapping and just killing it, I would call that a posse cut. But oftentimes you can get three people to come with three different perspectives to create a song. And that's not a posse cut. Souls of Mischief didn't make an album full of posse cuts. They were all focused songs. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like it can go any direction. But if you got three or more people who are just really trying to out rap each other, then I would call that a posse cut. If there's no real direction and you can see that the title is more about the destination rather than the path, you know what I'm saying? It's like I would say that's a posse cut.
All right. No, I'll take that. All right. We're going to move on to question number 2. This is a feature that I like to call Two Sean's Talking About Sean. This artist provided the hook on Jay-Z's 1997 single, Always Be My Sunshine. Was it A, Babyface, B, Foxy Brown, C, Puff Daddy, or D, Sauce Money?
I'm going to be honest and tell you that I have to guess here. Because I don't know, and I probably had that record actually, and I just don't remember. But you gave a hint and said Sean's, and so I'm gonna go with C, Puff Daddy.
All right, I just want to say, before you lock that in, the Sean's that I'm talking about is that Jay-Z is a Sean. She's Sean Carter, but
I know.
Okay, I know you know
and
that.
Sean is Puff Daddy, right? And so when you said Sean's, or were you referring to me as one of the Sean's? I don't know. So now are you telling me I need to back out and not say Puff Daddy? If it's not Puff Daddy,
I just didn't want to mislead you because you're a Sean, I'm Sean, and Jay-Z is a Sean. That equals Sean's, just in the same way that
that's a lot of Sean's. Okay, then I have to say A, Babyface, because of the title of the song, Always Be My Sunshine. I don't see Foxy or Puff. That title doesn't say either of their names to me, and it might be Sauce Money, but I'm gonna take a chance here. This was a single called "Always Be My" in parenthesis, and so that means the song is called Sunshine. I'm gonna go with A, Babyface.
Okay, he's taking the parenthetical path here. Foxy Brown is actually on the song, but the hook was done by Be My Sunshine. Babyface.
Houdini. That's a Houdini record to me, bro. like all day. Play it again. Can I hear can I hear that? I just want to hear that track again. You deserve to be my sunshine. Man.
So this was kind of a maligned single at the time. This is from Jay's Volume 1 album, a record in which I don't know where you were sort of at with your relationship with Jay-Z at the time, but this was sort of a record that is divided by having some real gritty, like Jay street bangers, and then him leaning sort of more into the commercial world, a lot of the bad boy sound. And this had a very bright Hype Williams directed music video, and he sort of got dragged for this even when it came out.
I could understand that, especially at that time, and especially with like the type of MC he was and how we all seen him. I had this album. But some songs just didn't get as much. I had this on cassette actually, which was rare for me. Usually I would buy the vinyl, and if I couldn't get the vinyl, I'd buy the CD, or vice versa, just depending on what was available. And the cassette was something that I had kind of stopped buying because cars were now, everybody had a CD player or a Discman with the little cord, and they were using that to play CDs in their car. So I wasn't buying cassettes as much anymore, but I had to get this on cassette for some reason. I think it was the only thing that they had at the time when I was at the store. So with cassette, you would rewind and play and play the particular songs. Funny enough, I have a song of the song that we probably would call our breakout song, called Scapegoat, off of the album Overcast, that was written to the Jay-Z cassette.
To which beat?
Which song? I'm trying to remember which beat. Yeah. One of the slower ones. But honestly, a lot of the stuff on Overcast was written while listening to the Jay-Z cassette, just particular songs. My kid had nap time. My firstborn was still pretty young at the time, and he would have nap time. And when he had nap time, I would sit in the living room and just listen to the drums and write my own little rap.
Yeah. So, when you were on my other show,
before anybody knew I was a rapper.
Right. So when you were on my other show, Can't Knock the Shuffle, last year, maybe 2 years ago, time is a flat circle at this point, we talked about your song Sunshine and how that sort of became a unexpected hit for you. And then this is a Jay-Z song that we were just talking about called Sunshine, which I think he was trying to make a hit and didn't really connect. And it made me wonder, for somebody like you who has such a big catalog, was there ever a time that you felt that you and Ant kind of swung for the fences on something and it just either didn't connect the way you wanted it to, or didn't quite feel as good when you were done doing it? Like, I feel like you have such a great catalog, and people probably ask you all the time about the songs that are beloved to you and to the fans. But is there anything for you personally that was like, I wish that we could go back and maybe reconfigure how we did that?
It's interesting because it's the way to answer that question, and honestly, is to say, I don't know that we've ever swung for the fences. I don't know that we've ever been working on something and been like, yo, I think we might have a hit on our hands. Like, that's never been part of what has crossed our minds when we're in our zone artistically with each other. What we do hit is like, yo, this is really good. And oftentimes we don't even consider the fact that other people might like it. It's one of those weird artist things where we go, man, if we really love it, probably nobody else will. And so when we have something that we're like, yo, well, this is super good, and then people actually respond to it, to us, that's probably the equivalent of when somebody writes a hit record. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like that's our version of that. I don't know what people think when they write hit records. Maybe they actually are like, I think I have a hit record. They must, right? Because somebody puts a ton of dough behind it, whatever. But if you even look at the songs that the label tends to pick for us as focus tracks, they're not per se hit records. They're more of them either interesting or artistic stances, or, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's a different relationship that I think that we have with that. Now, with that said, there's been songs that we've made, I wouldn't say swung for the fences, but more so swung for like stupidity. There's songs that we've made that we've been like, we didn't expect this to work, and it kind of works, cool. And then they actually become popular songs. One of them is a song called You, just simple one word, You. And that was on the When Life Gives You Lemons album. And when we were making that, it was like, yo, this is like this is some sort of like techno pop country or something. Like, we heard something that was like, this is not in style. Nobody makes music like this. And that was the sell for us. We were like, oh, we made a song that nobody would make because it's just weird. And then when people responded to it, we were like, we didn't see that coming. We thought that would be a moment on the album that just was to go up, to bring you up, but still be kind of ridiculous and synthy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it was, because that was like electro synth pop with a country twang on it. You know what I mean? Like, we were, so like I say, when one of our songs does get popular, it's not what we anticipated. Right. Sunshine was not one that I had anticipated to go popular. I think maybe the label had seen something there, that or who knows? I can't speak for the people over there, but I didn't anticipate it. I thought it was just a cool way to to reintroduce ourselves, because we had been working since the Mohawk record, and we had made all of this music, and a lot of them were piano songs. And so I thought, if we reintroduce ourselves, making a small little project of these piano beats, cool. And Sunshine just happened to be one of those songs, you know?
Yeah.
We were doing this thing where we had a challenge. We were like, write a song a day. So I would ride my bike over to his house every day and try to write 1 to 2 songs. And that song was literally me talking about the bike ride to his house that day, because I was like, what am I going to write about? I have to write a song today. And so I was like, I'm just going to write about what just occurred, kind of, you know what I mean? And then,
Write what you know.
To make him laugh. Yeah. Just to make dude laugh. You know what I mean? Like, and he laughed, and then it became a song. I have no idea how I got into the weeds here. I apologize.
It happens.
Babyface. Hey.
Babyface. There you go. All right. We're going to move on to the third question in our first round, Slug. Before making history as an award-winning filmmaker, Ava DuVernay directed a documentary about this hip-hop hotspot in 2008. Was her documentary about ballistics, fat beats, the good life, or the tunnel?
That would be C, the good life.
After a pregnant pause, he says the good life, and he is absolutely correct. She directed.
Oh, sorry.
What's that?
There's a weird internet thing here. So I don't know if because you're pausing too, and you're starting to sound 8-bitish, and I don't know if that's that. So I don't know if that's on my end or your end.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully it's not being recorded, but I mean, you sound fine on me. Hopefully the recording will be fine. If not, I'll go back, and I've done it before. I'll re-record my fucking voice again, and double my lines here. But yeah.
Then I apologize for interrupting. Then, so let me do this. I'm gonna go. That would be C, the good life.
The good life is correct. And you know what I'm going to do, just in case we're just being real loosey-goosey here? I am going to record my voice on my end here, just so I fucking have it, so I don't have to do that sort of arduous process I just mentioned. And here we go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is the good life. She not only directed a documentary about the good life, but she also was an MC, a vocalist who performed at the Good Life during its heyday in Leimert Park. When did you sort of first become aware of what was going on out there? Was it something that had reached you before you were ever touring, or was it something that you sort of became more aware of when Atmosphere was hitting the road and starting to see other parts of the country?
I became familiar with Good Life and Project Blowed and all of that early on. I think Freestyle Fellowship, to whom it may concern, made some waves, because people were like, oh, okay, what is this? Because at the time we were still kind of I would say we were trained with a certain ear to listen to hip hop. And To Whom It May Concern not only stepped outside of that ear a little bit, but also the whole idea of the underground, it set another level to what that could mean, so when most of the world saw the underground as like, boot camp clique was like, that's underground, there was actually some levels even deeper in the underground than boot camp clique. You know what I'm saying? So To Whom It May Concern showed us that. And then, when you had your ear to the dirt, you started to hear about Project Blow, The Good Life. Then Freestyle Fellowship dropped the next record, the Inner City Grice record, and then you started to hear about Abrood and all these people. And this was way before I was touring. I mean, honestly, it was around the same time that I was even trying to like make connections here in my community. You know what I'm saying? So it was when I was really still just kind of building who I was as an MC, and therefore, a lot of these artists were impactful for me. I would say AC Alone and Abstract Rude specifically, Micah 9 specifically, were very impactful for me. I would also say like Souls of Mischief and Hyro kind of opened my mind up to what could be, because the way I heard them, even though they had a deal, I heard them and was like, man, this is what we sound like. You know what I'm saying? But this is like a better version of what we sound like, you know? And so I could hear this, you know, my ear was to the West Coast Underground. I was trying to hear. I was looking for it. I was trying to hear what was going on, because they were doing things that were outside of what my ear had been trained to be. My ear was trained by Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One and Buckshot. You know what I mean? It's like, so hearing these things happening, that was impactful for me.
It's funny because, you know, you mentioning Boot Camp Click is sort of the measurement of underground hip hop at the time. You know, the stuff from the West Coast that was sort of the indie alternative makes the boot camp stuff sound damn near traditionalist in comparison. Like they were really pushing the envelope. And I want to give a big shout out to Freestyle Fellowship. I just went a couple weeks ago to the listening party for the reissue of the first album, For Whom It May Concern. And I was there with the Dad Bod Rap Pod dudes and Open Mike Eagle, and Cut Chemist has remixed the entire first album from the 2-track tapes, so it sounds better. I don't know if you've heard it, or for anybody listening to this, but if you can get your hands on the reissue, I picked up a copy, and like it sounds way better than however you heard it in 1992 or whenever you heard it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
it's beautiful. I'm gonna have to get my hands on a copy of that. And if anybody hears me, I'm going to have to get my hands on a copy of that, please.
Hit that promo. Speaking of seamless transitions, which is going to be my new rap name, we're on to our next question. And that question is, which of these subjects has not appeared as a season-long guest on Open Mike Eagle's What Had Happened Was podcast? Is it Dante Ross, LP, Kool Keith, or Prince Paul?
Now, this is easy because I'm an avid listener of this podcast. And that would be, you took the letters away, but I'm pretty sure it was C. But the answer is Kool Keith. Kool Keith hasn't been on there yet. Needs to be. That is an amazing idea. And I don't know if maybe you got you got the inside scoop, and you know he's due on there if they've done one or something. Maybe you're trying to drop an Easter egg here. I don't know, but that would be so tight to me to listen to him, just because I also like listening to Mike talk. You know what I'm saying? So listening to him talk. And listening to Kool Keith, and I've met Kool Keith a handful of times, you know, and we've worked together, and I'm not only a huge fan, but I feel kind of like he treats me like a colleague. You know what I'm saying? And I can't even tell you how validating that is for me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of Kool Keith, and I would really love to hear him on open mics on this podcast.
Let me clarify. I am not dropping an Easter egg. I have no inside info. And if I did, I feel like Mike would probably be pretty pissed at me for, you know, spoiling it. So really, I know he likes to do, you know, rollouts and announcements on that. But yeah, I mean, I love Mike's podcast. I feel like we're in a really great time for hip hop podcasts. I mean, do you listen to a lot of podcasts, or are you kind of more selective with it?
I'm super selective, but only because I have very limited time. And so I don't even know that I listen to the best podcasts out there as much as I like to listen to people I know, talk to people I know, because then it feels like I'm like there. And so I miss out on a lot of probably really great, resourceful dialogues, entertaining people that are amazing because I don't know them personally, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And so, but when I see that there's two people that I've met or that I know personally, I gravitate towards it, because to me, I feel like I'm going to be able to visualize and see and hear what they're talking about a little better, because I know a little bit about their personalities. You know what I'm saying? And so I still gravitate towards that. Someday when I'm old and I have a lot more free time on my hands, which is probably like next week, I will spend tons of time going back and listening to podcasts. However, I did force myself to sit and listen to Questlove talk to Jimmy Jam for like what felt like 27 hours. Oh my God, that was the longest podcast ever made. But I listened to the whole thing on a car ride to Bemidji and back from here, which is like a 4-hour car ride. Me and Ant went up there to Bemidji and we listened to that podcast the whole way there, and then listened to the second half the whole way back.
Yeah, when Questlove Supreme was originally on Pandora, they had like a requirement that they had to fill 3 hours. So it really worked for Jimmy Jam type episodes because you could easily do, 10 hours. It was sometimes weird when they would have an artist who like could easily would be a great tight 90 minutes and they had to stretch it to 3 hours. But I'm kind of one of those sickos who like I will listen to a 3 hour podcast if it's about music or an artist that I like. Life hack. I don't know if I can recommend this to everybody, but I am a believer in listening to podcasts at 1.5 speed. I do recognize that it's a little insane, but because I do try to consume a lot of it and I have somewhat of a limited amount of free time, that's my like workaround for it. So I can cut it down, cut an hour down to like 40 minutes or something like that. That's what I do. It may have made me a sociopath who now expects people to talk faster than they normally would in conversation, but this is my burden to carry.
I'm not mad at that. And if that's, a way of asking me to talk faster, I'll totally go through.
No, you're doing good. I appreciate it. So, and not only are you doing good, but you did great on that first round. You got all the questions right. So we're going to move on to the second round, which we're flipping up for the podcast format of the show now. It used to be a visual round, but because a lot of people now are going to be maybe not seeing this and just listening to it, our second round is now called Check the Rhyme. And in this round, I'm going to play you a piece of music and we're going to cut off the bar of the artist and you have to finish the rhyme that they did on the song. So let's see who our first artist is, Slug. We got the Mighty Most Def here. So I will play you the beginning. It's going to cut off and echo, and then you tell me what the finishing line is.
Say what you ain't home, I guess Michael Jackson was right. You are not alone, rock your hard, half black as you in the terror dome. Full of hard niggas, large niggas, dice tumblers. Young teens in prison greens facing life numbers. Crack mothers, crack babies, and AIDS patients. Young bloods can't spell, but they can rock you a PlayStation. Snoo Mathers with my motherfuckers ass.
Yo, I don't know. I have no idea. Listen, the funny thing is like once I started making records, I stopped memorizing other people's records. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a slight against anybody. You know what I mean? Like, if I had to learn your lyrics because I had to do your backups on stage, I had you all day. You know what I mean? But more so at the time that I started making records, the fact that they even let me in the door means that they let a lot of us in the door. And there was suddenly way too many records for me to keep up with. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and so, yeah, even though I think Mos Def and the picture that you put on the screen totally reinforces what I'm gonna say, but I think Mos Def is a beautiful individual. I am a huge fan of this gentleman. When he raps, when he talks, when he acts, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I knew the minute you put him on the screen, I was like, well, I'm gonna try. And then part of me was thinking I'll just make up some shit and I'm just gonna freestyle a bar for him. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. But yeah, so no disrespect, Mos, but I don't know.
You heard it here first. Slug from Atmosphere hates Mos Def. No, just kidding. Let's hear the line. This is from his debut album. It's the DJ Premier produced Mathematics song.
Snoo Mathers with my motherfuckers ass. You want to know how to rhyme? You better learn how to add. It's math.
You want to know how to rhyme? You better learn how to
add. That's a solid line. And I know that line. I just, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't know the preceding line.
Have you heard the Black Star album that they recently put out?
Yeah, man. I've heard it twice now on my bicycle. And I love it. I really, really love it. I didn't know what to expect because I didn't absorb any information prior to. I already had the Luminary app because I was listening to the Midnight Miracles. Oh, that's another podcast again where I have paid attention to that one because of having a connection with Talib.
Yeah.
And so all I say is this though. I listened to that on the bike and was just like astounded. I was like, this is a record that I wish I'd been a part of. I wish I'd have been just a fly on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Watching them make it. I'm really happy for it. I'm embarrassed to admit that I haven't, because the other big record that has come out is the Kendrick record, and I have not. I only know the single or the video, which I think is Fly. I really love that video, and I need enough time to sit down and consume that whole thing. Which next week, when me and the kids we're gonna go for a road trip, go get in the car. That's a perfect time for me to put it in the left earbud, while I'm driving with them. That way I could keep an eye, keep one ear on them and one ear on this, listening to that. But that's when I'm going to really sit down and try to consume that record, is when I'm on a road trip looking at, hills and trees and all. Yeah.
I give the Kendrick one listen the night that it came out. I'm going to do this real old school. I got in the car and I drove aimlessly for the duration of time that it would take to listen to it. And it was a lot to absorb. And I was like, man, I'm really going to have to give this another visit because it's so dense that I feel like I'm not even getting everything that there is to get from this. And I just have not been able to dedicate. It's like I experience this sometimes with things that I'm dreading or things that I'm really excited about. Like there have been times in my life where I'm waiting for like a package to come, whether it's like a record I really like or a book. And I'm so excited about it that even when it arrives, I still put off diving into it because it needs to be right for me. And that's kind of how I feel about the Kendrick record.
Do you feel like, because here's the thing about the Kendrick record, I didn't know it was coming. I obviously I've been distracted. Maybe there was like signs, but I didn't know it was coming until like 2 weeks prior to it dropping. So I never built up any sort of anticipation. So for me, I don't think there's any way for me to not love this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think one of the problems in the past is when you build up anticipation for something and then it doesn't live up to it. On the rare occasion that it goes beyond it, beautiful. That's great. That means that this was correct. But I feel like for many of us, when we force ourselves or force another person to anticipate something, it can really lead to a slight disappointment, or even like, oh, I love it right now, but I got over it really fast.
Right.
So I do like that he did that. And I got to say this, man, when I found out it was a double album, I was saddened because me and Anthony have been working on a project, and it's, in my mind, I was like, double album would be really funny and silly and ridiculous and stupid. Let's do it. And then now I feel like now that he's done this, if we put out a double album, people are going to look at it and try to take it serious, as opposed to allowing it to have been this goofy, silly little thing that we did that why would you ever do a double album in today's age? Every album that you put out on vinyl is at least a double album anyway, sometimes a triple, you know what I'm saying? Because of the spacing. So when I was like, let's make a double album for fun, and Ant laughed and thought, if he laughs, then it's on, you know what I'm saying? And then when we found out the Kendrick thing was a double album, I was like, oh man, now if we do a double album, people are going to be looking at it like, well, this isn't a good thing, as opposed to seeing it as the ridiculous thing that it was supposed to be.
It's weird because the actual, it's sort of, okay, I'm looking at it right now. It is being billed as a double album. It's an hour and 73 minutes, which technically speaking is, in the era of the bloated, hey, we got 72 minutes on these compact discs, let's fill them. Those were not necessarily double albums, like that.
Wait, you said it's how long? It's an hour and what?
An hour and 13 minutes. So it's actually 73 minutes. So, which I would argue that even in the era of like the 90s when people were doing that, I don't think that there was ever an essential, every song is a must keep, like 20-song albums. But it's not. It's weird. I guess it's just sort of semantical to call it a double album. I know other artists have been doing that, but
see, that's so precise to what we were trying to do, though. Our album is definitely not longer than that.
Right.
It's short. It's a little shorter than that. And it was like, we'll call it a double album just to be dumb. You know what I mean? Like not because of any other reason. You know what I'm saying? And so I just was like, because nobody was doing it. So I was like, because why would you do it nowadays? In the age of streaming, in the age of nobody's doing CDs anymore. Why make a double album? Back in the day, like you're referring, if somebody put out a double album, each disc was over an hour. You know what I'm saying? It's like now you got each disc is, 37 minutes. Like, but I remember Vince Staples did that. And yeah. I thought that was pretty tight, because I was like, okay, it allows you to take it in pieces, which maybe is to say something artistically. And I'm assuming that's what Kendrick is doing. He's giving you this opportunity to take it in these pieces. Whereas we were just kind of like, the fact just calling something a double album is so ridiculous that's why we wanted to do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a double album at a single album price, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and now I just feel like, the wind got taken out of that. So that is why I expect this Kendrick album to be amazing. When I listen to it, I should fucking cry blood. That's what I want. I want to cry blood in the car listening. I want my kids to be like, what's wrong with dad? He's sick. Like, I'm not sick. I'm just listening to Kendrick. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want.
Well, you'll definitely have to circle back and let me know if you cry blood and get into a like I don't want you into a major car accident, but maybe just have to like pull the car over for a second and just like wipe the tears and blood and guts from your eyes.
Hey man, I'm in. I'm gonna film it. I'll make sure to put it on the gram. I'm gonna get a little, do it in the sun, have this good light, you know, and a little bit of just wipe away a little tear of fucking some hemoglobin and keep it moving.
Wipe your K dot off of your eye. All right, we're going to move on to our second question in our Check the Rhyme round. This one might be, you know, I know you'd mentioned that once you started putting out more of your own records, you stopped learning. This one might play more in your favor. We've got the Funk Dr. Spock, Redman. So I'm going to play you the Redman song. Let's hear it.
Coming from the north, south, east, west. Hold your nose and take a deep breath. Recess, we bless. Mics 3 times a day, 3 times a night. It all equals subliminal sequels. Strictly laughing at MCs. Lyrics for years that run more than 10 deep. Niggas be like, he changed his style up.
No, I don't know.
Is this
round? I should know that because I love Redman. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, maybe it's the weed, bro.
You're making me think that maybe this was not a good tweak for me to make to this game. I don't want to like make a really difficult, because I don't know if MCs do learn a lot of other people's. I imagine that you have such limited capacity in your brain to remember lyrics just because you have so many of your own songs memorized.
See, now that's how my kid be teasing me, bro. Don't go there. Let's not talk about that. Okay, so he always gives me a hard time for that. You don't remember nothing, Dad. I wonder if it's a headphone thing, like when.
But you're wearing headphones right now.
Well, you know what I'm saying. When I finally got a car, maybe I was no longer memorizing stuff or something. I'm not sure. Because you know, all the stuff that I have memorized, I have a shelf on my wall. It goes all the way across. It looks like it's about 12 crates. That's all the stuff that I memorized. That's not why it's on that shelf or why it's segregated there. It's more so that's the era. Like that's my favorite era. And that is, you know, 1985 to 1991, 92, 93, Cypress Hill. You know, it's from Run DMC's first record all the way up to Cypress Hill's first record. And that's I got all that in my head. So if we want to do karaoke, I got to pick songs from that era. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I love this because it makes me go, okay, you know what? I got to revisit Redman stuff because it's been a minute. It sounds great. And I don't know the lyrics. So let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Like he changed his style up. Shut the fuck up. You're still a dick rider.
Yeah. Of course I know it. As soon as I hear it, I'm like, yeah, I know that rhyme. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of the more slap a person in the face rhymes on that song. And there was a lot of slapping people in faces on that song. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. Okay. So once again, no disrespect to Redman, top 10 MC to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, very influential on all of us. And influenced some of the greats who went on to influence some of the greats. And so, you know what it is with Redman. And I'm just a sucker that didn't manage to keep that lyric in my head.
All right. Well, don't beat yourself up over it. We're going to get
That's what I do. Ain't you ever heard my records? This is what I do.
Maybe this will make the double album, or maybe this will, you know, inspire the triple disc for the third disc on the album. We're going to go into our last question in this round, and then we will mercifully be done with it. We got Del the Funky Homo Sapien. So I'm going to play you the song. You know the routine by now. Here we go.
Salutations, introducing Del, and it's been for boosting tales of my adventures. Attempt to try, and you will live or die, whichever I choose, you lose. Crews get ashamed because we blame them for biting.
You might win if you stop fighting and start writing. I see, and there it is.
Because we blame them for biting. You might win if you start writing and stop fighting.
Oh, I flipped it backwards a little bit, but yeah.
You got it.
And but again, that's the headphone era for me, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? That's the second Del record, No Need for Alarm. It was on Elektra, 1993. I think that's when I was like, you know, and I wanted to be Del. You know what I'm saying? Like when I heard Del's first record, I knew that okay, this is for me. This is talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew then that I was like, okay. And not only that, but he was on top of the West Coast funk, which also spoke to me very much. You know, when you know, Rodney Ojo Cooley and Dre, and when all these records started coming out using the Parliament and Funkadelic, I was like, this is the stuff that my dad used to force me to listen to. You know what I'm saying? It's like and so when Dell's first record came out, I was like, what is that Average White Band? Yeah, what you know what I mean? I was hearing things that I was very familiar with, and here's this dude rapping in a way that, like, that's how, I don't want to say that's how I rap or how I rapped, but that was like, he's rapping the way that I'm trying to rap. You know what I mean? Like,
he's got the illest, I will say, like, I think he's underrated in how ill his style is. That, like, yeah, maybe you could like trace some of it to like a Slick Rick type tonality, but like he had the dopest style in that time, still does, but like it just, there's nobody that like was really capturing what he was able to do. And like, I think not only was it dope, but it was brave to do, because there was such a sort of regimented, expected tonality that, you know, we expected from rappers. And he did something that, like, I would say like him and Q-Tip sort of like took that, oh, we're going to twist our own sort of voice that isn't the typical, you know, intimidating style, but like is just a force to be fucking reckoned with.
yeah, and you know, something to be said for him and the Bay Area is they are very genuinely dedicated to funk, and not just the Parliament snare. Like many of us, yeah, we have funk. You know what I'm saying? And we you know, you might hear the Parliament hits, but I'm saying the Bay is dedicated to like funk, like the funk that you don't even know where's that from? What did you sample? I don't even know what you sampled. Whereas everybody else has sampled funk, they sampled hits. These fools were making new funk, and I would put that on Del, Hyro, Shock G. You know what I'm saying? The Cool, like, and really even like you can hear it in the Living Legends stuff. You know what I'm saying? You could hear it and I think there's a Bay Area influence. You hear it in the old souls and the new souls. You know what I'm saying? There's a Bay Area funk thing that E40, you know, that's what bonds that whole scene together to me. It's specifically the fact that they dug for the funk. It wasn't just like the obvious on top of the surface funk. They were using things that were just like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure Shock G is the only person that was ever able to sample Prince and not get in trouble for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he had to become friends with him to do it, but still to recognize the Prince funk and put it in there, or for me once in a while to hear some Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis funk in that Bay Area hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like that's huge to me.
Well, once again, a great segue, because we have now gotten into our third round, which is our sample round. It is called Digging in the Crate. So in this round, I'm going to ask you a question about a sample that you're going to hear. You're going to have to identify the answer based on what you hear. So,
All right, we'll try.
all right, Gene Chandler's 1962 song, The Duke of Earl, was sampled on this song from Cypress Hill's debut album. Was it Hand on the Pump, How I Could Just Kill a Man, Latin Lingo, or Pigs? I will play you the sample now.
That's a Hand on the Pump. And
Nailed it.
amazing song by an amazing group, and not just because I'm biased, but I tell people all the time that without Cypress Hill and Mobb Deep, you wouldn't have Atmosphere. They were a huge influence on, you know, here's the thing. Me and Ant, we both grew up kind of similar. He's just a tiny bit older than me, but we grew up listening to a lot of the same stuff. And when we met, you know, just like anybody that you meet, especially artists, there's a new Venn diagram. And the Venn diagram that me and Ant shared was Cypress Hill, Mobb Deep, and the darker stuff like that. Other than that, I was off on some, you know, lyrical miracle, you know, freestyle stuff. You know what I'm saying? And Ant was more on some like, you know, real thick production kind of stuff, you know. But our Venn diagram met on Mobb Deep and Cypress Hill because both of us knew that was special stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of Atmosphere's sound, even though you might not immediately see it or hear it, a lot of our sound came from Cypress Hill and Mobb Deep. And I had the opportunity to tell them guys from Cypress Hill that, and that felt great. You know, one of my favorite rappers of all time was Prodigy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and so the two of them were huge influences on us. And so I think I could play this game maybe without you even showing me the rap version that sampled it, because I'm not Ant. I don't know a lot, but I know some of the stuff that's, but let's see what the next one looks like. Let's see what the next one looks like.
All right. And you know what? You bring up a good point. I got to also shout out Be Real as somebody in that era who had a very distinct voice like that. Like you can't mention that sort of grouping and not include him because nobody was sounding like him.
Huge. And he influenced a lot of people, man, because people saw that and realized, oh, I can't just my way into everything. I gotta come up with a something that will make people see me as a standout. You know what I'm saying? And Be Real, Q-Tip, these voices made us realize that we don't have to try to sound like somebody else. We can find our own sound. Busta Rhymes, another one. We can find our own sound and be okay with that. And which ultimately allowed me to just use my own human voice, which, you know, using my human voice, you know, back in the day, I'd have been clowned off the stage. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but they set the tone so that all voices were welcome as long as you sounded like you knew what you were talking about, basically, you know, as long as you sounded genuine and as long as your rhymes were there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to move on to the penultimate question in this round here. And it is a question about an Aretha Franklin song. Aretha Franklin's cover of the Beatles' The Long and Winding Road was sampled on a song that paired Pharoah Monch with this MC. Was it A, Immortal Technique, B, Prince Poe, C, Styles P, or D, Talib Kweli? I will play you the song.
We'll never disappear.
you know, it's funny because I want to pick 3 of those answers because I'm pretty sure I know the song, but I'm like, man, okay, I'm going to go with A, Immortal Technique.
He's going Immortal Technique. Let's hear what the answer is.
My life is based on lighting blunts, loading guns, telling my
The answer was Styles P.
Yes, it is Styles P, man. Oh God, I suck. All right, I'm gonna go eat some chocolate after this is done. I'm gonna have some candy and some pie. That's what I do when I suck. Is I just go eat sugar.
Sounds like a celebration to me. I mean,
no, it's horrible. It's like you know, it's like my crown of thorns.
No. As I say to everybody who's on this show, when we get off of this conversation, you are Slug from Atmosphere, and that is already like the crown jewel. So like we're the crown of glory, not the crown of thorns here.
Yeah, but I wanted to win all the money.
Oh, I meant to tell you, we actually don't have any money for this. I know that was a huge part of the agreement here, and I hope you don't just.
I mean, that's okay. Well, that helps actually.
All right, cool. Yeah, no problem. Let's move on. Okay, last question in this round, and this one might be a little personal here. Which of these artists was the first to sample Bo Hanson's Excursions with Complications? All of these artists have sampled this song, but who was the first? So our choices here are Black Milk, Cormega, Fat Joe, and Visionaries. I know
the sample. Go ahead, play it.
Right, I'll play it.
I know this. Obviously, I know this.
All right, so who sampled it first?
Man, I love that guitar line. 100%.
All right, so I
don't want to. There's certain things I don't want to talk about, but
yeah.
Every time I hear that, it's one of those things where I'm like, it doesn't matter who sampled it first. Nobody, and I mean nobody, nobody made it sound as good as the original, as far as I'm concerned. When I hear that, I'm just like, oh my God. Okay, and not only that, but okay, out of those 4 artists, who sampled it first? I'm pretty sure, because it was kind of a blurry era for me, but I'm pretty sure it was D, the Visionary.
All right, we're going to go on a little audio journey here. We're going to play all of the people who have used it. So first, we'll go in reverse order. So in 2014, it was sampled by Black Milk on a song that featured Blue. I'll play that for you right now.
Where the blood is spilled, city bros get
In 2006, it was sampled by Fat Joe on his song Damn.
The penalty is death, and I'm inflicting the torture. The best of the best couldn't mess with the boogie down Bronxster. His heavy promo catching beef with Joe. But
In 2004, 2 years prior to that, the Visionaries used it for their song Pangea.
Started as one, then we drifted, separated as continents that shifted. All the pieces fit, can't you see the...
But back in 2002,
Woo!
on his The True Meaning album, Cormega sampled it on a song called A Thin Line.
there's a thin line between love and hate, and you crossed it. You have respect around the way.
Wow.
You lost it. If a nigga, you get no love. Dead before designer.
Yeah.
Wow. Cormega. And you know, arguably the best rapper of the bunch. That's great. I love that. Thank you. That put me up on something. Now I gotta make sure I got that on wax now. I gotta find that Cormega. You know, I'm pretty sure somebody beat him to it. There's somebody that wasn't on your list.
Yeah. I think that there were a few.
Okay. I don't know if there's a few, but I know of one that I thought off the top of my head. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Because I remember it's funny too, because I always knew it was there. But then he pointed out to me years later, like, we used that, right? And I was like, what? And he showed me, and I was like,
Can you say? Can you say who? Or
it was on the Presage album.
Ah.
Are you familiar with that album?
Vaguely. What year was that?
Man, I want to say that was probably 2001, maybe 2000 actually. Presage. It was like an instrumental album. I could look it up, but I don't want to distract you from what we're doing. But it was an instrumental album about the New World Order.
Okay.
And so it's got all these sound bites and all of this, all put in a series of. You hear this in a series of ways that is bringing you to something. Like it's got a movement and it's got a message, and it's similar to, I don't know if you back in the early 90s, I think, and maybe the late 80s, there used to be a VHS floating around called the Church of the Subgenius. You familiar with that?
I've heard of it.
The style of how that VHS tape was created was kind of influential because it was cut and paste like hip hop was. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that any person in hip hop, if they would stumble upon this tape, it's probably on YouTube now. It's called The Church of the Subgenius. It's about the Church of Bob. Could see how this cut and paste style spoke to people who were trying to make beats and rap,
That's dope. I got to check that out. But yeah, like you said, an amazing sample. So Slug, we have reached our final round, which is our speed round. And the round is called Time's Up. So in this round, you're going to have 90 seconds to answer 5 questions, non-multiple choice, in the category of your choosing. And here are our categories for today's episode. We have hip hop Sean's, rap duos, and bugs in out. These are questions about bugs in hip hop. Hip hop Sean's are obviously about Sean's in hip hop, and rap duos is pretty self-explanatory. So you pick your poison here.
Bugs in out. And bugs in out is about bugs.
Yeah, bugs as it relates to hip hop.
I want to pick that because that sounds interesting. But if I want to actually get some of these answers correct, I should probably go with either the Sean's or the rap duos. What do you suggest here, Sean?
I mean, I wrote them all, and I think that they're all great. So I can't really say. I think you're gonna enjoy all of them. I wouldn't say that one is particularly harder than the other. I think.
Why do I got to pick one? Give me 90 seconds to go through all of them.
I mean, we could try that, but you got to tell me what you want to stick with first.
Just run them from top to bottom. Just go. All right. Sean's let's just try them all. Let's go.
All right, we'll do it. So he's gonna go for an unprecedented marathon run here. I have OC's Time's Up here, and it is time to 90 seconds. So when we stop hearing the classic instrumental, we will know that our time is up. If you don't know the answer, you can say pass, and we'll go back to it. But if you answer incorrectly, that question is burnt. So just want to make sure you know that. So we'll start with Hip Hop Sean's, and we'll see what we can do from there. All right, so you ready to do this?
Yep.
All right, 90 seconds on the clock. Slug from Atmosphere. Let's go. In the second season of 2000 MTV show Making the Band, Sean Diddy Combs sent one of his aspiring artists on a 12-minute hike to retrieve this item for him.
Cheesecake.
That is correct. All right. Name 2 solo albums by the late great Sean Price.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. It's Iron P Tyson. Everything. It's got the P in it. Fucking dinosaur P. All
right, we're gonna come back to this. We're gonna come back. All right.
Pass.
A Big Sean landed his first major record label deal after rhyming for. Okay, in 2008, Jay-Z opened his set at Glastonbury Festival with a tongue-in-cheek cover of this UK band whose lead singer. Yep, that is correct. Sean Lennon's 1998 debut album Into the Sun was released on a record label run by this hip hop
Grand
group.
Royal Beastie Boys.
That is correct. Okay, you want to go back to that Sean Price question?
No, keep going.
Okay, we're going to keep going. Duos. What is the name of the woman whose namesake appears in songs on every EPMD album?
Jane.
Jane is correct. Know the Ledge by Eric B. and Rakim appears on the soundtrack to this 1992 film.
Juice.
All right. In 2022, Yasin Bey and Talib Kweli put out their long-awaited Black Star album. But on what podcast platform?
Luminary.
Yep. This East Coast duo appeared on the song Got My Mind Made Up off of Tupac's 1996 album All Eyes on Me.
Fucking Eastsiders. No. Pass.
All right. Our time is up. It was Method Man and Redman. They were the duo that was on there. But, I mean, okay, let's go over the other ones that you didn't get. Sean Price albums. Monkey Bars, Jesus Price Superstar.
Yeah. Jesus Price Superstar, of course.
Mike Tyson and Imperious Rex.
Imperious Rex. Did I get the Mike Tyson one correct at least? Did I said something there?
I'll give you half credit on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
E. Tyson. Yeah.
There was a question. Big Sean landed his first major label record deal after rhyming for this rapper producer at a Detroit radio station. That was Kanye West. He rapped for Kanye West. So let me just calculate your score here. You got, and I'm probably going to cut some of this. But while I do this, my question for you is: now that you've been on the show, who would you challenge, nominate, recommend that we get to be on this? We've had a bunch of people. Your episode, this is episode 121. So it might be that some of your friends and comrades in this rap game have already been on the show. But who do you think we should get to be on here?
I mean, the obvious answer for me would be Merce. I have to challenge Merce to do everything that I do, and I think that's just because we're arch rivals. As far as who would be fun to listen to, Merce would be really fun on here too as well. I want to make sure that I say that. But I mean, honestly, I would love to hear Mortal Tech on here. I would love to hear I would like to hear Jean Grey on here. I would like to hear. I think Vast Air would be fun to listen to on here. With that said, LP would also be dope to hear on here. I think Aesop Rock would be great to hear on here. So I just go down the whole depth. You already did Ali.
No, I mean, I'd love to get a lot of those people. I almost had Aesop Rock. He was like, I know, and it was explained to me that he is a little like cagey about doing things. So like we had a string of emails back and forth about having him do Can't Knock the Shuffle. And it ultimately, like, it hasn't yet panned out, but I am continuing my slow-paced conversation to try to get one of my favorite MCs, A$AP Rock, to do a podcast. And I'd gladly have him on either. I think he'd be great on Can't Knock the Shuffle. I think he'd be really fun on the show as well. So that's a good pick for sure. We did have Merce. Merce was episode number 2 that we did back in the first week of the pandemic, where we kind of overshot, and we were like, we're going to do 5 episodes in 1 week, and we did them all on Instagram Live, and we were like, this is not sustainable, we cannot do this. But he was our second episode, and that was great. So one thing that I did think about that I thought would be cool is we've done a couple episodes where people go head to head in like a battle, so it's like actually like Jeopardy style.
That'd be tight.
And obviously I'm not going to like ask you to do this right away, since you just dedicated so much time to this, but I feel like having like a felt face off between you and Merce would be pretty sick.
Speaking of KG, yes, a felt face off would be great. I would totally do. I'll face off with any rapper from the branch of the tree that I'm on. Any rapper that you can think of that's on the same branch as me, I'll go against any of them. Even though I seem to have gotten a few answers wrong, I'm still confident that I could do better than the majority of my colleagues. But you know who would be good to have on here, speaking of who's kind of an encyclopedia of rap, is Ab Rude. Abstract Rude has a lot of information stored inside of his head. He probably would kill this game.
That's a great idea. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Ab Rude. I did a show because I'm also a musician, and I sat in on a show that he was the guest MC on, and we rocked a few songs, and then I got his info afterwards. I've been meaning to hit him up, so that's a great reminder. That'd be dope. So Slug, I'm trying to like, you know, do some conversions here since we went extra on the other rounds here, but you got, I'm totaling your score here. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to give you an average because you went into that other round. We're going to give you 12 out of 15 honorary because you went in there. So let me tell you who else is in the 12 out of 15 club. I want to make sure that you understand the elite, the elite ranking that you find yourself in. Previous guests of the show who have scored 12 out of 15. Nature, Apathy, Cosmo Baker, Sean Sitaro, RJD2, Peter Rosenberg, Bun B, Nikki Jean, DJ Revolution, the Boom Bap Kids, Operator M's. You're in fine company.
It's a head club. I'm in. I'm feeling it. We gotta get tattoos now. 12 out of 15.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Anything else you want to tell the people to check for or look for?
I mean, learn how to grow your own vegetables. Floss daily. Just keep your head on a swivel.
Was Floss Daily ever your like rap nickname, like back in the day with your last name? Like, did you ever like show up with like a really fresh shirt and they'd be like, "Oh, look at Floss Daily over here."
That's amazing. I've never even considered that, and now that you've put that into the ether, I probably am gonna have to make a project based on that. That's kind of how me and Anthony work. So expect that record, Floss Daily, sometime in the next 18 to 24 months.
Excellent. Glad I could be a part of helping and influencing the culture that I love so much. Slug, thank you so much. We will see you around.
Sean, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yep.